Okay. Hey, hi, how are you? Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. You are now backstage with me as we get ready for another episode of The Pat Miller Show. This show is designed to kind of be a weekly meeting for small business owners everywhere because the vision is there's really not a national conversation going on to support you and what you're doing every day to grow your dream. So I figured, well, you know what? Maybe the world needs a good looking bald guy to lead that conversation. So I thought it would be me and I thought we'd do it. The vision for this is to turn this into a radio show and have it on every radio station in the country. Kind of a bold dream. I'll take half the radio stations, maybe. But we'll see what we can do. On today's show, we've got 4 callers lined up, Steph and Dennis and Chris and Sarah, and we have room for you. If you would like to call into the show, we would love to have you be a part of the conversation today. But with all of that said, the next thing that we do is I hit the record button and we start the show. So you are backstage with me. We encourage you to chat inside the chat box and questions, comments, and sarcastic remarks and all of that kind of stuff. So with that, how about we start the program? Sound good? Sound good. All right, here we go.
One, two, three. Here we go.
Broadcasting from the small business capital of America. This is WII-FM Milwaukee, an Idea Coach station.
Welcome to the national conversation to unite and celebrate small business owners everywhere. This is the Pat Miller Show, where we help small businesses, solopreneurs, and startups one by one, live without a net. I'm your host, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, on this show, we're setting weekly goals, we're learning from one another, and answering questions from our callers each week. Building your dream can be lonely and hard, but together, we are here to grow, fix, and celebrate your small business. It's your dream. Don't grow it alone. Now, if you want to be a part of the show, that's cool. You can book a time to be on the show or hear the playback of previous episodes. That's easy. Just do it at patmillershow.com and let us know how we can help. With that, sit back, relax, and maybe you can hear a few ideas that will help you build your business along the way. Now, we're going to start this week's show with a celebration, which is pretty darn cool. But before we get to that, let's help you come up with something to celebrate in your small business. We're going to talk about goal setting for a second. It's a new feature I want to add to the show where we're talking about a goal that you can put in front of you that by the next time you hear the show, you get it done, because we air this show once a week. So I figure that's a pretty good rhythm to pick out one objective in your business and try and knock it out before the next time you tune in. So this week, it's funny because I just went on LinkedIn, and you know how LinkedIn, you see everyone on LinkedIn and it's like everything's perfect. They just cured cancer. They opened a new location in Rome. They're now a trillionaire, right? They've given up water. Like, they do all of these things that is truly amazing. And you watch LinkedIn sometime and you think to yourself, man, I'm not having a good day. And I just went on LinkedIn and I shared that I wasn't having a good day. And it's because I've got all these little things that are sitting around, like little nagging tasks that are in the way. So I'm kind of using that as inspiration for maybe my challenge to you for this week's small business goal. Let's pick out something that's just creating static in your business right now. It could be your desk is a total mess, or your files need to be backed up off of your cloud drive and you haven't done it yet. Just something that's bugging you. And here's the challenge. I want you to do it right now. I can see you. I can see you. Get a pen and think of one thing that's bugging you in your business right now and write it down. Something that you just wish was gone. And then take probably 15 minutes to knock that thing out. Write it down, knock it out. You'll feel better. And the next time you tune into the show, you will also have something to celebrate. And that will be a win for us all. So with your goals set, let's get into today's callers. First up is Sarah Schwab, and she's calling in with a small business celebration. Sarah, it's great to see you. Before we hear about the celebration, so everyone knows who you are and what you do, tell us about you.
Hey, Pat, it's great to be here. I'm Sarah Schwab, the content creation coach. So that's my business. I help other businesses and solopreneurs with their content, with their online content for their websites, their social media, their email marketing. Content is really the core of all that. So that's what I do in my business. And my celebration today is a little bit tangential to that, if that's okay.
Ooh, now wait a minute. You're gonna throw around those big words on my show. I'm teasing. Okay, it's tangential. Go ahead. What happened? Tell us the good stuff.
Right. So I was able to blend my digital marketing expertise and passions with my former work in the nonprofit sector. So I actually serve on the board of a nonprofit organization, and we were brainstorming about how to raise some money. The board had about $5,000 in the budget they needed to raise as a board fundraiser, talking about how can we do this and throwing around ideas. And I said, well, what about a social media fundraiser? And they said, that sounds great. Why don't you do that? And so I took it on and spearheaded basically a 1-week social media fundraiser, primarily on Facebook. And we raised our $5,000 in 4 days. And by the end of the week, we had raised almost $8,000 for the organization. So that was great.
What? That's insanity. You hear people all the time, especially in the last year, nonprofits that needed to turn their fundraising online, and so many tried it. I didn't hear very many people that were that successful. So first of all, high five and kudos. How the heck did you do that? That's amazing.
Well, the reason it's tangential to my business is I'm thinking of actually packaging the process that I created into a product that I can offer through Content Creation Coach. But in a nutshell, you know this, Pat, social media is powerful because it's social, because of all the people who are out there, right? You know that if you just throw out a post or something on your business page, it's not likely to take off. But if you can leverage the people in your community and in your network, that's where the power really is. So the whole process was really about, galvanizing the community that we had for this organization and having each of them create fundraisers and provide them with the support and the materials and all the stuff they needed to do that. So we had about 20 fundraisers running at the same time. And the amazing thing is people are actually really excited about contributing to something that their friend really cares about, whether they know all that much or are connected directly to the organization or not. And we're not talking about huge donations here. The average donation size was $50 or less. But when you add those all up and all those connections and all of the passion, it worked really, really well. And I'm thrilled.
Now, when you talk about social media, it's easy to forget that you really are having those personal conversations just kind of at scale, because it seems sometimes like a bulletin board, like, oh, I have a thing going on, I'll just slap it on the wall and see if anyone cares. If I'm hearing you right, the reason why it worked is you found the people that cared about the organization and then asked them to turn to the people that care about them. And that's how the fundraising worked. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So for example, the first thing I did was, I don't know if you've seen this, but on Facebook and on a few other platforms, on your profile picture, you can put a frame. People will put different frames on their profile picture. So we created a frame for the organization and said, hey, everybody, put this on your profile picture. And then it allowed us to see everybody who is engaged and who is participating and following and loving on the organization. And we had over 50 people who used that frame. And I started seeing it everywhere. And I started being able to connect with people through that. So that alone, and that was just that was number one so I created a document called the 10 things you can do, to support this social media fundraiser. And the profile frame was just number one of the 10 things.
That's unbelievable. I've seen some people do the frame thing. And I guess my last question would be, do you think that updating your frame with a graphic is kind of existing outside the algorithmic shutdown, because they're so disciplined about not allowing us to do some things? But it seems like playing around with your profile picture is something that some people are getting away with.
It gets through, right? It gets through the other junk sometimes. So yeah, that one worked really, really well. So if people are interested in learning more about it, I would love for them to connect with me, because I'll be sharing more about it on my platform as well.
I love it. Cracking the code on fundraising online. turning the people that are into the organization to turn to their family and friends, and you had big success, and you're turning it into a class, so we might as well learn about the website. So tell us the website where we can learn more.
Well, it'll be through my contentcreationcoach.com platform, and we're creating, it's going to be called the 5K Facebook fundraiser program. So check out the website. You can get on my list, and it should be out hopefully in the next couple of months. Talk about business goals you were mentioning. It's not going to be out by next week, but I thought maybe my goal for a week from now will be the branding for this 5K Facebook fundraiser program.
I absolutely love it. You know, it's funny that she's not putting a lot of pressure on herself, because Sarah's the one that opened the office in Rome, which is pretty amazing. So she's having a big week, but it's great to hear about someone using social and actually getting the result that they're going for, because, man, it just seems so frustrating sometimes. So Sarah, thank you for calling in and sharing your success. And that's one thing that we don't do enough as small business owners. We don't stop and go, wow, I'm pretty awesome. That's what that segment is for. So you can hear someone be successful and potentially learn from them about how they did it as well. So Sarah, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it. Up next on the show is Dennis. Dennis, it's great to see you. So everyone knows all about you. Who are you? What do you do? And how can we help you today?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pat. I look forward to getting some advice from you. My name is Dennis, and I am one of the co-owners of Batch by Wisconsin Hemp Scientific, more specifically Batch CBD. We are a vertically integrated direct-to-consumer CBD brand, meaning that from the hemp farm all the way to the finished product, we manufacture everything all the way in under one roof, and also distribute it directly to your door under that same roof in the same facility.
Now, is that rare in that industry to have someone make the stuff and ship the stuff as well? Is that how it usually works?
You know, I didn't know how commonplace it was until I got into this industry, but it is extremely rare. And I know that for a fact because we are, in fact, the manufacturer of several other CBD brands as well that we have nothing to do with in terms of marketing and sales. So, you know, they don't have to handle any of the back end stuff. It's certainly an added convenience for them, but it's really provides a cool insight for our customers because they get to see exactly how the product is made. We do a ton of behind the scenes stuff. So in an industry that is a little bit unfamiliar still to some, it provides a sense of comfort for people when they get to see, you know, how legitimate and normal the process can be.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so you got a business. It's going great. How can we help you today? What's on your mind?
Absolutely. So one of our goals right now is to engage more with our local community. And we're a national brand, but we feel like if we can own our backyard a little bit better and be more aware here in Milwaukee, that would be great for us. And as a small business owner, I know lots of other small business owners. That's just kind of, you know, comes with the territory, as you probably know. And so the broad question is, how can I you know, expand my audience in my local community, but more specifically, are there any creative ways I can engage some other small business owners to collaborate and kind of, you know, grow that audience faster and more efficiently than without them?
Now, that's a great question. And I want to ask, what does success look like? Do you want to be seen as a good member of their network that can refer them to other people? Or do you want to raise awareness for the products? They're two different missions. Which one is the one you're trying to get done?
Yeah, certainly. So because we are a product company, we're looking for customers, I suppose. But before that, we would be just as comfortable gaining social media followers, gaining subscribers to our newsletter, because we provide a lot of content. And if you kind of become part of that content circle, I think, you know, eventually you'll turn into a customer. And we also offer a lot of free sampling because we are in fact vertically integrated. So in any way we can service a customer and just have them pay attention to us, that would be a win, I'd say. Yeah. It doesn't have to be an immediate customer.
Yeah. And what does success look like? How many people are we talking? Like, if you could be known by X new small business owners, how many do you want to reach?
Well, sorry to clarify, I'm not necessarily looking for new small business owners, but rather the ones that I do know, they have their own audience that is within the same community that may know about them, but not me, for example. So to let's just, like maybe a restaurant or coffee shop isn't familiar with batch CBD, but they are, of course, the coffee shop. How can I tap into their customer base in a mutualistic way where I could, we could help each other out, I suppose. And what would success look like? It would be maybe another 1,000 people following us on Instagram or on our newsletter.
Okay. That'd be a nice result of 1,000 more people. Well, okay. The way that I say that again.
I said overtime, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, 2-3 days, something like that. Sarah's got an office in Rome. You've got 1,000 new followers in 3 days. We get big things done around here, Dennis.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So the fastest way to make inroads with the audience that someone has is to show up in a way to help their audience. So let's go back to the coffee shop owner that you mentioned. How is that person trying to win influence with their audience, and how can you empower their ability to do it? Meaning, if that coffee shop owner is trying to build their coffee shop into the place where people on Marquette's campus come to study. Let's just say they want to be the community hub for Marquette University students around finals. Okay, so you go to the coffee shop owner and you say, I would like to come in during finals week with care packages for free for all your clients gifted by you. And they're samplers, really, are what they are. But you're giving the coffee shop all of the glory, that the coffee shop is working with Batch to give them a study break. And you're empowering them in their mission, which is people inside the coffee shop are getting a freebie from us, Batch CBD. That's just one example. If you find these different buckets, ask them and learn what their objectives are, then how can you empower what they're already trying to do? Because if you went to the coffee shop owner and said, hey, I want to get in your email newsletter. Okay, why? Just because. It's a really tough ask. But if you're helping them get further on what they're already trying to do, that's a good way to start the conversation.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. And it's kind of one of the unique values that we can offer is giving away free stuff to little burden to ourselves, of course, because, we're all the way down to the manufacturing cost. So I think you're right about that. And maybe just approaching those businesses and even just having that open conversation of, well, here are a few things that we can do, but ultimately, what are your goals? And maybe we can, maybe we can't help facilitate them. So I love it.
I like the idea that Sarah was using as well, and it might be something you could use as your point of view as you do this. You're identifying people who have an audience who are out there raising money for a cause, and you're showing up to empower their chance to do so. That gives you a very good value proposition that's tough to turn down. They may not know who you are, but they know that you're trying to help them on their fundraising mission. So there's very little friction for them to say yes. And then another way would be to create a direct partnership. So I would think if I owned your business, I would start with make the list of 50 or 100 partners that you're trying to acquire, and then refine them to maybe 10. And before you even pick up the phone, know what they're trying to do with their audience, and then show up with a way that you can help their audience as they try and accomplish their goals. And I think if you did that, you'd be off and running and hopefully build a good partnership, because as you start to show up and help other people, they're going to be like, man, those Batch guys, they're pretty cool. And when I take their product, I just feel better, man, just better. Dennis, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. This is the Pat Miller Show, where we grow, fix, and celebrate small business. Standing by, Chris and Steph will be joining us in just 1 minute. So stick around. And if you want to be on the show, we're going to put up on the screen your opportunity to call in. ideacoachmedia.com/call. We've got slots available for one more caller today if you want to get on. Or if you want to schedule a time because you're kind of a big deal and you're important, no problem. Hit up patmillershow.com and we'll get you on the show real soon. Okay, we're in a commercial break. Yes, it's a commercial break. Hey, we should be running some commercials for Batch CBD. What do you think? We should do that right now. So Dennis, thanks for the call, man. All right, so Chris, you're going to go next. Then Steph, you're going to be the big finish. So stick around with us. We're going to come with you in just 1 second. All right, guys, let me click a few buttons here, and we are going to be good to go. And right here we go. Back at it. Welcome back to the Pat Miller Show, the national conversation for small business owners and entrepreneurs. We are collaborating in real time to help you grow, fix, and celebrate your small business. Now, you can come on the show or catch previous episodes. Do either at patmillershow.com. Up next on the show today is Chris. Chris, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. How can we help you today?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, my name is Chris Hughes. I run a company called Zanate Ventures. It's based in Austin, Texas. We help busy business owners drive organic leads through laser targeting, ghostwriting, and content strategy services. So I work with solopreneurs, small business owners on developing their LinkedIn presence, and also do some blogging, ghostwriting for people in the e-commerce industry, a bunch of different industries actually. Having a good problem lately, at that point where I'm starting to tap out in my time and what I have available for the executional side of the business, and been working in it more than on it. So having to think a lot about how I can bring somebody on board to take some heat off, so I can think about long-term planning and what it's going to look like 2 years from now instead of a month from now. So that's my question: is how do you know who that hire should be? Number one, how do you identify, I guess, the blind spot that needs the most help? And how do you know when the moment's right? When you maybe could just realign your time, balance that out, and still get some of that work done, versus not even bothering to do so and bring somebody on board to take some of that heat off if it's just not possible.
First of all, before we even try and dig into a solution, congratulations. I mean, that's awesome. You're so busy, you have to find more time, which is incredible. So before we go forward, how did you get to this point? Is this the maturation of longstanding partnerships? Is this finding new customers? How did you get to the point where it's like, whoa, I'm full?
Yeah, I really dug into LinkedIn about a year ago this time and built everything organically there through content creation, and didn't spend any money on ads. People kind of came to me and saw what I was doing, then asked, what do you do? What's the functional side of the business? And found some good relationships there, and just grown a little bit at a time over the course, really about the last 6 or 7 months in earnest. So
that's fantastic. Well, you got this far without spending money on ads. We hate you and we're jealous, but congratulations, which is awesome. All right, so let's work backwards. My belief on outsourcing is you should do it way before you think you should, because when you get to the point that you're full, like you're really, like you say, working on the business, right? Or working in the business, not on the business, that's not your job. You're supposed to be thinking about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now. And if you're busy pressing the buttons and dotting the I's and crossing the T's, you're actually losing money right now. Because let's say you could hire a virtual assistant or a junior assistant for $40 an hour, but you're billing people at $75 an hour. You're actually losing $35 every hour that you work. And it's something that sometimes when it's not expressed that way, people don't realize, oh, I can't afford a VA. Well, you really can't afford not to have one right now, because I bet your business, while it feels full, I bet you're actually shrinking right now because you're not working on the big picture stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's my fear. It's what I wake up with every day. Like, I know what I'm doing executionally, but when do I spend time on development, both personally and investing in myself, but also flipping that around to invest in the business.
Okay. The second thing is all hours are created equal. Right. While they're valued at different levels based on you doing it or someone that you hire, an hour is an hour. So what are some of the projects that you're doing that you just want to throw into the ocean? Like you just hate, you can't wait till you are in a place where someone else can do this stuff for you. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Emails first. I mean, a lot of people still like to communicate by email, even though it's not my preference, and I try to steer people away from it. That's just reality. So a lot of times I'm looking out of the corner of my eye at the Gmail tab I have open and cringing, thinking, when am I going to grab 30 minutes to knock these out? And some days it doesn't happen, and that's my own fault. But that's just, it's there staring at me.
So 30 minutes a day doesn't sound like much, but if 30 minutes a day could be beaten down to 5 minutes, then you've got a big advantage there for productivity. Is there anything else that you're doing that's driving you crazy that you just want to get off your plate?
That's the big one, I feel like. What I would like to do is be able to do more of what we're doing right now and get on as a guest on podcasts. And I'd really like somebody to do that outreach work for me. I can do it functionally, but again, no time to set up campaigns and fire them off and things like that.
Okay. Well, we're off and running with one thing you could absolutely outsource. If you had an executive assistant, a virtual assistant, I don't know if you'll need a full-time person to manage your email, but there are people on the planet, and if you can't find one, I can connect you with someone who literally will go through your email all day, and then at the end of the day, send you a digest saying, hey, here are the 3 things I need a yes or no on, and they'll handle it for you. And it's the type of thing that once you start doing, you'll never believe that you didn't have anything except for that.
Sure.
So I would absolutely say that. And then the next step would be list out all the other tasks. If there's nothing else that you're doing that you just hate and want to get rid of, I would list out all of your tasks and rank them by how much you enjoy doing them, not how much you hate doing them. And the stuff that you enjoy the most, that's probably where you're adding the most value. Keep those, but then start working from the bottom up of the things you don't like to do. Batch them together, find someone to do it, grow the business till you get full, batch the next set together until you get full, grow the business some more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Have you had virtual assistants? Have you done the VA thing yet? No
people that have, and have had those conversations with some people, including a couple of my clients, of, how that works functionally for them, and know that it's a, good potential sweet spot. Haven't used them previously.
And I don't mean to correct you, but it's not a sweet spot. It's freaking magic. It's absolute magic. In fact, having a virtual assistant is the #1 cheat code out there for small business owners, because you're inventing time. You're like literally, you're gifted time. And sometimes, and this is the best part, sometimes that time is, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to go for a bike ride or sit on the back patio and have a beer and have the stuff I don't feel like doing done for me. It's absolute magic. So first of all, I'm so excited to hear from you that you're doing well. And if someone wants to know more about your ghostwriting services or the other things that you do, can you share your website so we can take a look at it?
Yeah, sure. It's, a good place to follow me is on LinkedIn to get a feel for just kind of the tone of how I work. But the website is zanateventures.com. So it's ZANATE ventures.com.
Okay. I love it. Chris, best of luck to you. So here's what I want you to do. You gotta find a VA service. And if you need a reference, I've got a few. Get someone working in your email, get rid of that. Pick off a few more tasks, grow the business, and then come back on the show, because we want to hear your success story, because we're really excited about how far you've come. Keep growing the business, call back, and you can inspire us all. Okay, we've got time for another caller today. And up next on the Pat Miller Show, our friend Steph is on the phone. Steph, welcome to the program. It's great to see you. So everyone knows who you are. Tell us who you are, what you do, and how we can help you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pat. I live in Milwaukee, and I have a day job, but I also have a freelancing side hustle, as many of us call it these days. The Graham Communications LLC, and I like to help out friends, but, also open to helping out others when it comes to especially things having to do with communications, blog writing, social media, some video producing I've done, voiceover. So kind of a plethora of things.
So out of all that stuff, what do you love the most? Because you do have a lot of different talents, it sounds like. So which one of those do you just love more than anything? Just anything. If you were a zillionaire, you could spend all day doing one of them. Which one would you do?
Oh, well, probably voiceover, which I know you can appreciate.
Oh, yeah, that's fun, right?
Yes, as with the radio background. But I also love social media, connecting with people. I know some of our previous callers, we're into the social media. So it's definitely not going anywhere, and it's a great way to tell stories, which is also my background. So I'd say that out of everything, that, or well, gosh, I love video production too. So that's a hard question, but we'll say social media.
Well, you're already living the dream, it sounds like. Do you have a question for us today? How can we help?
Just in general, I guess my question is, and maybe this piggybacks a little bit on the previous caller, is time. Again, working a day job, a lot of this stuff I do either in the evening or on the weekend. And a lot of times you just don't want to do it because you've been working, your normal gig. So I guess just any tips for time management. Obviously, email is one, but anything else besides that?
I would say it's goal management more than time management. And I say that because are you trying to make this your full-time endeavor, or is it just going to be a side hustle forever?
I'd say for now, just a nice side hustle.
Okay.
I'm not quite there yet, but who knows what the future holds.
And the reason why I say that is if your mission was to get out in the next 90 days, that may affect your time management choices because you've got to hustle for the next 90 days so you can be ready to go. For a long-term side hustle, you may have to look at it just a little bit differently, because if it's going to be a part of your life at all times, you may have to align what 100% full means if you don't have 100% of your time to service it. So you might have to align how much you can actually do with how much time you have to do it.
Right.
Because the dirty little secret for all of us, and I've seen this meme floating around when you do your own thing, I quit the 9 to 5 so I can work 24/7. Right? I'm not sure if you've seen that meme, but if you're a small business owner, right, you can really think about that. So now if you're doing this as a side hustle for an extended period of time, independent of how much money you want to make, let's start with setting how frequently you want to work on it, and then work backwards to how many clients can you take on to fill that bucket. And that may lead to realigning what your goals or what you think a good job looks like. So let's look at your week. I mean, do you want to do this 1 day a week, 7 days a week, 20 hours a week, 2 hours a week? What sounds like something you can tolerate?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends on the week, which is another thing, who knows with life, work-life balance is important to me. I don't want to sound like someone who just wants to work all the time, but I'd say, honestly, at this point, 5 to 10 hours, the most.
Okay. So with 5 to 10 hours available to you in a week, how many clients can you carry? And is that in alignment with what you're doing right now?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I see it as one the most, honestly, to do a proper job.
Okay.
So,
which could be,
when I say side, I mean, yeah, it's very side for now, side hustle.
And that could be a happy accident with someone with your talent level embracing one client on the side. You could give them superior service and they could be your number one client because you've only got one. So you could give them high quality work and probably a good amount of it, even if you only gave them 5 to 10 hours per week, but you only had one client. As soon as you start dividing your focus,
and that's where I get in trouble because I'm not good at saying no.
Mm-hmm. All right. So just because I can't help myself, how many clients are floating around right now?
Actually, only 1 or 2.
Oh, okay. Great. Are either one of those clients the one that you'd want to marry? Like, are either one of them worth being the one?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, then you're in great shape. So which one are you going to fire? Come on, tell us all live right now. No, I'm kidding.
No, God.
Don't say that. No. I'm teasing. But that would be the next step then, is to think about which one of those clients is the one that you think you want to make your own, and then sunset the other one. Just make sure that the one that you decide to marry has enough, money in the pocket to fulfill your goals, because taking it down to one client would satisfy your time horizon that you want to spend.
Right.
But you got to make sure that they can also fulfill the revenue that you want to bring in. Maybe you're lucky. Maybe that's possible. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that could be possible. I think that's some great advice. And, I always need someone to remind me to kind of focus and not overextend.
Yeah. The other thing I would think about for you is creating a digital course or a digital product that you're doing work. So you have something out there for sale, but it's not something out there that you have to tend to in real time. So if you were to do, say, a storytelling course, and here are 4 videos to teach you how to tell better stories in social media for $99. I'm just making it up. But if you were to do it on one of the online platforms where courses are hosted, people could buy that, take that, and you would never even have to talk to them, but there's still revenue coming in. It extends your earning capacity without extending the number of hours per week that you have to spend being brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's a really great thought. I haven't really thought about that. Any specific site you recommend for that sort of thing?
Well, I've heard good things about Kajabi. I have friends that have used Kajabi before, and they're teachable, and there are other course service providers that are out there where you can host the course. What I would think about is go back into your Rolodex, all the work that you've done, and what are the things either that you've taught repeatedly, and if you teach it more than once, make a course out of it. Because you can host an unlimited number of courses, everything from rewriting your LinkedIn to how to tell a better story to email campaigns that rock, whatever it might be. If you start creating a Steph library of stuff that people can buy, it doesn't cost you incrementally more to host more courses, but it gives you more earning potential. But I heard Jack Butcher, one of the guys that I really adore, he runs the Visualize Value community. He's a genius. If you've sold it more than once, make a course out of it and automate it. And that way you can just have something available for sale and everyone can buy it from you repeatedly. And with someone with your background, I mean, I'm sure you could kick out a million different courses. So I wish you a lot of luck, Steph. It's so great to see you again. Thank you for calling in. And again, call us back with that small business success story and tell us about the mountains of money that you've made so we can move into your basement and not have to pay our mortgage, which will be great. But thanks for calling in. All right, so today we helped 4 small business owners, and hopefully you picked up something along the way. And remember that goal you wrote down earlier on in the show. Got to do it. Tune in next week. I want to hear it from you in your head that you accomplished the goal that you wrote down at the start of this show. Now, if you want to experience support like this every day, you might want to check out the Idea Collective collaboration community for small business owners. This is a community that we have launched for you, small business owners and entrepreneurs. Inside the community, we've got small business owners that are working together so you can grow your business. It's like having your own personal board of directors. And then I show up and do this for an hour, twice a week, every week, just for our members. So if you want to learn more about the Idea Collective, check out the community at patmillerideacoach.com. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach, here to help you on your small business journey. It's your dream. Don't grow it alone. Okay, file stopped. There you go. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And thank you so much for coming on the air and for sharing your ideas, your comments in the chat. And if you want to come on, like literally, I'm here to help you. This is what I do. I record every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And if you want to come on the show, let me put it back up here. patmillershow.com is where you can go in and pick a time that works for you. And I'll help you create a new idea. I'll help connect you with people that you need to know. And we'll have some fun, because that's what we're trying to do. So patmillershow.com, grab your time. And just between us girls here, I'm just saying, we're starting to get a little interest when it comes to carrying the show. Just saying, you can say that you were here from back in the day when we were on the internet streaming it live before we went on the radio. So thank you so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. With that, I got a bunch of other stuff to do, including my nagging goal that I was talking about at the beginning.